by
But
ear
you
as
still
well.
have to teach your students the basics, don't you?
Of course,
Yeah,
yes.
okay.
You teach C, D, E, F, G. You teach the basic, you know, even basic sheet. When sheet has its strength when you're learning classical music, some forms of jazz music that are very rigid in their structure. So students in that way, I teach them sheet. I teach them everything they need. We don't go through list A's, B's, and C's and theory books, but we still go through that process. But students want to learn rock, pop, blues, folk, funk, gospel, and all the other standards. Again, you're not going to find great sheet music there. So therefore, the best way to go is to say, okay, innately, how is this constructed, and how can we learn through that process? So, yeah.
Show me something.
Show you something.
Show me something on your guitar. And I mean, how many instruments do you play anyway?
Oh, I don't know. It gets to the stage where as you speak it like a tongue, you can... I think I own 8 or 10, you know, but if you learn alto sax, at least in my method, instead of sheet to play, but actually by the structure, then if you play alto, you play soprano, you automatically know soprano sax and tenor sax and baritone. You already know the whole woodwind instrument. If you learn a violin, you can stretch that out to viola, you can lift it up to cello. So it becomes very, very quick to learn many, many instruments.
Yeah. Well, my son, for example, we had him in piano lessons, didn't like piano lessons, found a flute one day, and now he's playing alto sax with Festival Wind Orchestra in Toronto. So
Right.
he put into, yeah. So there's how many chords on that? What's the green chord anyway? You were talking about. Just by the way.
By the way, well, it's not quite as simple as blue and green because each has its content. But for example, major chords sound happy, minor chords sound sad. And then from there you got like minor sevenths, which sound cuddly, with the cool dissonance. Little touches, and it's like, when do you apply that kind of stuff? You ask any big graduate of traditional learning what a diminished ninth chord is, and they'll tell you exactly what it is. But then you ask them when and how would you use that, and they'll instantly be stumped.
So there's 6 strings on that one.
Yes.
So where is C on there, for example?
C would be here.
This one?
Yep.
This one
Well,
here?
this A, that would be your A open string.
Okay,
Your C
okay.
would be up here.
Okay.
And then from there, for example, chords are just made of 3 notes. Do, mi, and so. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. So if I take do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, re, mi. So from that process, you can pretty much stripe any chord, you know.
Okay, so I don't know anything, and you're telling me that you can take someone who knows nothing and teach them by ear
Yes.
to play
Yes.
in 30 days.
Yes. Easy. Yes.
Easy.
Yes. And that's why my website says learn any instrument in 30 days. In essence, in 4 lessons, I can cover the girth of the instrument well enough for you to be able to feel like you have your feet wet. You can hit the road. Now, given I can't just sit down with you for 3 lessons or 4 lessons and all of a sudden wave a magic wand. There's a lot, I saturate your mind, and there's a lot you'd have to work through in between lessons. But as you work that through, most definitely, I learned guitar in 30 days. And that was my first instrument. And that was self-taught. So if I can do it, and I'm no genius, right? I just play like anyone
I
else.
know you developed a
whole process around it. Yeah. So but if I can do it in 30 days, then I can show you, and I've done it over and over again, how to do the same in 30 days with any instrument.
So sing.
I don't know what I want to sing for you. I don't know what I want to sing for you.
Well,
I
your
can
wife's in
sing
the
for
studio
you.
audience. You can sing to her. Don't sing to me.
I can play for you maybe a song that inspired me to learn.
That would be wonderful.
Because we all tend to, a lot of adult students especially, they say, you know, I go out with my family
And what
every
is that
summer.
for?
A capo, it just lifts the tone.
Okay,
So I can kind of go, this is an E chord, sounds one way, and the same chord lifted up here sounds teeny tiny.
Yeah.
So it kind of shifts things and makes the guitar sound really cute. And it happens when you're really lazy and you don't feel like doing crazy bar chords to execute a
So
song. It just kind of simplifies your life and changes tone a little bit. The song is called Queen and the Soldier. And I heard, it's a little bit long, but I think you'd like it. And I heard...
the show's only an hour. So.
Okay, yeah, so it's a 3-hour song, but...
3 hours. You're going to condense it.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
It's 30 days, you know? 30 days. But the soldier came knocking upon the queen's door. He said, I'm not fighting for you anymore. And the queen, she knew she'd seen his face someplace before. And slowly she let him inside. He said, I've seen your palace from up here on the hill, and I've wondered who's the woman for whom we all kill. But I'm leaving tomorrow, and I skipped the words already, do what you will. Only First I'm asking you why. Down the long narrow hall he was led, into her room with her tapestries red, and he never once took the crown from her head. She asked him there to sit down. So now some people will say that I just committed a terrible act because I messed up the song and I changed the words a little bit, I compressed it. But I chose this song because when I first heard it, I heard the progression and how it flowed and how it told this story. It just took me through this journey, you know? And it took me to a whole other place. And I find that that's what music does in such a major way for so many people. And when people come to me, you know, they don't care to kind of, they just want to play, you know? And we all come from a position where someone has inspired us, or we heard someone at a campfire circle or something like that. It's like, oh, if I could just do that. And I find for me that's where the biggest reward is. It's empowering another to be able to do that, to sit there. When I was a youth, you know, my parents knew I was happy because I was playing my guitar. And my parents knew I was sad because I was playing my guitar. No matter what, this thing was glued to me. You know, that when I was really going deep in it, I'd fall asleep with my arm on it, I'd wake up, I'd rub my eyes, and I'd pick up again, and you know, where I left off. It becomes such a part of you. And the ability to express something that is much deeper than just a casual conversation. And even things that you cannot necessarily put to words, you can put to saying through an instrument. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. You know, people ask me all the time, playing so many instruments, what's my favorite? And I never know how to answer that because they all have their glory, you know? Like drums is a great adrenaline sport when you're playing it. And guitar, there's an intimacy, there's wood, it's flesh on string. It's you know, piano, you have that separation of the hammer, but there's a blanket of, it's so huge, the possibilities. I mean, to every emotion, there's an occasion, there's an instrument for it, you know? And it's great to teach others that. That's why there's many students of mine that play many instruments as well. Because once you can speak one well, you can quickly translate that to something else.
I heard once that the piano was basically the instrument that leads you to all other instruments.
Piano's nice because it is a linear picture. You have from low to high.
Right.
Guitar, things are convoluted. Other instruments that are more melodic, you only have one note at a given time. So piano, you can hit many notes at once. You can really get a 10,000-foot view of music quickly. Unfortunately, piano is not normally taught that way, though. It's still taught as an item that you need to.
It's hard to bring it to a campfire.
Walk through. It's very tough, and it is. That's why I learned guitar, because I tried that once. My back was it's tough to move around.
It's not as portable. Yeah,
no,
exactly.
Most definitely. Even I have a keyboard that I take on stage all the time with me, and I call it pretty names every time I have to move it, because even the keyboards, they weigh a ton, you know, and they're so delicate. Yeah. So yeah, guitar being very portable. There's nothing like a guitar on a canoe bobbing up and down somewhere.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, bobbing up and down somewhere.
Yeah.
So the guitar, and from the guitar, so the teachers you have working in your studio, do they all have this ability?
Yes.
So they can do violin, piano, guitar? Or?
Correct. They all have, they're much like me, where they have their primary instrument or instruments, and then secondaries and tertiaries, right? I can pick up and play guitar, piano, drums, voice, flute, sax, something like that, fairly tight, but don't ask me to play sitar off the cuff. I can kind of figure it out, but give me a few hours, you know, to work my head around it. So same thing, they'd have their strengths. And some are students of mine, you know, that I first taught, I'm trying to remember, guitar, then piano, then drums, then bass, then voice, then back to guitar, and you know, so they kind of spun themselves up, and they're, to give credit where credit due, they put the time in, they're quite good. You know,
so with voice, is it automatically, once you learn an instrument, the voice comes with it? Voice
is a matter of, a lot of it is a matter of what do you need to do physically to match what you're hearing either in your head or outside of your head. Mm-hmm. So it's a little bit of a different instrument. You know, you can be an amazing guitarist and a terrible vocalist. You can be an amazing vocalist and a terrible guitarist. Again, it's a matter of have you learned what it takes to get your brush strokes right, to kind of make that through. What makes voice interesting to teach is, unlike guitar or piano, where I can know quickly and by visually I can know if my chords are right or wrong, I can't shove my fingers down my throat to see how I'm doing. You know, so there's a lot of vocal teaching that's very abstract, and I've managed to put a lot of tools together to kind of fix those abstractions, and you know, it's easy to get fairly far as a voice student as well. But
yeah, I remember watching Barbara Streisand play the piano, and she was in a concert, and she said, I don't often play the piano, and she sort of played, and I think she made one mistake or so. But it was interesting to see someone actually play a musical instrument and then vocally express what the instrument is doing.
Yes, yes, yes.
Which is it's amazing. For me, it's yes. amazing to watch.
Yes. I find it great fun when I'm bringing students through a journey of composition. When they're coming to me and they're saying, okay, I have this song and it needs to turn a corner and it needs to get dark and twisted. And so somehow as a teacher I need to now figure out, okay, dark and twisted, what does that mean from their perspective? What does that mean theoretically? And then how can I bring about the learning that's needed to bring them through that without giving them the answer? Without saying this is what I would do and this is how I would write it. But having them arrive upon it and still keeping their own style. It's a great challenge, but highly rewarding when you watch the light bulbs go off, you know? And yeah, to be able to play something live and express what's going on behind the scenes is beautiful.
It must be exciting for you to take like some of these younger students that we saw and see them not only develop the instrument, but then if they've got vocal and then bring them around to vocally expressing themselves and watching all that come together in a relatively short period of time.
Yes, yes.
Like, I mean, not like 20 years.
No. Yeah, normally what you have, for example, is a guitarist that starts in September, and by January, February, March, they're decent on guitar and they're writing songs, they're playing with their friends. And so by summer, they want to now sing. You know, so then we bring them through singing, and then they realize where they want to go, and it never does end. You know, I keep saying it's my job as a teacher to get myself fired. If I can get my teachers saying I achieved what I wanted to achieve, I'm now touring the world. Great, but the beautiful thing of music is it never ends. By the time you get to a certain level, you realize there's more. You know, and I have, you know, upon occasion, I have had the student come to me finally gets to a level. It's like, you know what? I think you need to go to Russia to figure out what's next, because some of these cats are really, really great. And it's neat to watch how, like I said, every instrument has its own kind of emotion, has its own presence to it. So to see a musician that's birthed out of guitar and then realize the depth that can be brought to voice, and then the depth that's brought to them as soon as they figure out bass, that foundational blanket that can make, you know, and watch as they deepen their personal expression.
Why don't you play us a little tune into break? We're going to go to break, and why don't you just lead us in there with something wonderful.